Buru's Funeral Home, a leader in the funeral industry for over 25 years, is now at number 2 Southern Main Road, Cunupia. At Buru's, you are assured quality service and affordable funeral packages so that your loved ones get the send-off they deserve. Buru's can ship and receive worldwide. When the inevitable occurs, you can rely on Buru's Funeral Home, funeral directors and embalmers. Now at number 2 Southern Main Road, Cunupia. 24-hour service available. Phone 370-8036. Buru's Funeral Home, a leader in the funeral industry.
मूल मंत्र है संपूर्ण समर्पण है आत्मा प्रभु को सौंप दे भूतारा देख प्रभु तेरे निकट विराजे ओ देख प्रभु तेरे निकट विराजे कर ले अभिवादन दोषी बिंदु परमात्मा से
Huh? Yes? Just push this. Oh, leave it.
Alright, you find it okay? Okay. Alright. Alright, if you just hold it, just get that. Devotees, Sitaram to everyone. As we welcome you this morning to take part in this Antyeshti Sanskar. Some of you would have had the handout so that you would know the name and the family and those simple instructions that are there. We are about to begin with the arati, and we'll appreciate if you all can stand, if possible. If for any reason you need to sit, it's okay, you can continue to sit. And the others who would want to do arati, we have a few malas still, and we have some flowers, so you all can just take the line and you'll come and you'll be part of it. You're not going to touch him because you're not coming to do it. And it is next to him, isn't it? And it is him? And you come here and go right. Touch here. Right. And you touch in your hand, like that. Now you could be trying to do the party. So, young Valley, Mahapuri, and the Rupi Let Ruji take a maran from after them. Then Anji and then we will come after him and then the two branches run after. Thank you. Yamwari Mahaburi and Samkari Tam Siti let's stand on the side here. Ramara? Answer right? Hola, ¿es la mamá área? ¿Qué tipo de cosa no la escuela ya? Ya. Mamá área. Position. What a position are you taking? Anybody else for the RT? Which one is You all could have your seat, because this will go on for a while. So you all relax.
ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ अष्टमोऽध्यायः। अर्जुन उवाच किं तत् ब्रह्म किमध्यात्मम् किं कर्म पुरुषोत्तम अधिभूतं च किं प्रोक्तम् अधिदैवं किमुच्यते अधियज्ञं कथं गोत्र देहेऽस्मिन् मधुसूदन प्रयाणकाले च कथं ज्ञेयोऽसि नियतात्मभिः। श्रीभगवानुवाच अक्षरं ब्रह्म परमं स्वभावोऽध्यात्ममुच्यते भूतभावोद्भवकरः विसर्गकर्मसंज्ञितः अधिभूतं क्षरो भावः पुरुषश्चादिदैवतम् अधियज्ञोऽहमेवात्र देहे देहभृतां वर अन्तकाले च मामेव स्मरन्मुक्त्वा कलेवरम् यप्रयाति समद्भावं याति नस्यत्र संशयः यं यं वापि स्मरन् भावं त्यजन्ते कलेवरं तं तमेवैति कौन्तेय सदा तद्भावभावतः। तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु मामनुस्मरयुज्य च मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिः मामेवैष्यस्य संशयम् अभ्यासयोगयुक्तेन चेतसा नान्यगामिना परमं पुरुषं दिव्यं याति पार्थानुचिन्तयन् कविं पुराणमनुशासितारम् अनोरणीयां समनुस्मरेद्यः सर्वस्य दातारमचिन्त्य रूपम् आदित्यवर्णं तमसः प्रयाणकाले मनसा चलेन भक्त्या युक्तो योगबलेन चैव भ्रूमोर्मध्ये प्राणमावेश्य सम्यक् सतं परं पुरुषं वैति दिव्यं यदक्षरं वेदविदो वदन्ति विशन्ति यतो वीतरागाः यदिच्छन्तो ब्रह्मचर्यं चरन्ति तत्ते परं संग्रहेण प्रलक्ष्ये सर्वद्वाराणि संयम्य मनोहृदिनिरुद्य च मूल्याध्यायात्मनः प्राणः आस्थितो योगधारणाम् ओमित्येकाक्षरं ब्रह्म व्याकरन् मामनुस्मरन् यः प्रयाति चिरं देहं सयाति परमां गतिम् अनन्यक्षेत्रसततं यो मां स्मरति निश्चयः तस्याहं सुलभपार्थ नित्ययुक्तस्य योगिनः मामुपेत्य पुनर्जन्म दुःखालयं शाश्वतं नाप्नुवन्ति महात्मानः संसिद्धिं परमां गतः आप्रभुः भुवनालोकाः पुनरावर्तिनो जना मामुपेत्य कौन्तेय पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते सहस्रयुगपर्यन्तम् अद्यब्रह्मणो विदुः रात्रिं युगसहस्रान्तं ते होरात्रविदो जनाः अव्यक्तव्यक्तयः सर्वाः प्रभयन्त्यहरागमे रात्रागमे प्रलीयन्ते तत्रैवाव्यक्तसन्निके भूतग्रामसेवायं भूत्वा भूत्वा प्रलीयते रात्रागमे वशपाठ प्रभवत्यहरागमे परतस्मात् बाहोन्यः अर्थो व्यक्तात् सनातनः यस्य सर्वेषु भूतेषु नश्यत्सु न निरश्यते अव्यक्तोऽक्षरयुक्तः तामसु परमां गतिं यं प्राप्य न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम पुरुषस्य परपार्थ भक्त्या यस्यान्तस्थानि भूतानि येन सर्वमिदं ततं यत्र काले त्वनावृत्तिं चावृत्तिं चैव योगिनः प्रयातयान्ति तं कालं वक्ष्यामि भरतर्षभ अग्ने ज्योतिरः शुक्लः षण्मासा उत्तरायणं तत्र प्रयातं गच्छन्ति ब्रह्म ब्रह्मविदो जनाः धूमो रात्रिस्तथा कृष्णः षण्मासा दक्षिणायनं तत्र चान्द्रमसं ज्योतिः योगी प्राप्य निवर्तते शुक्ले कृष्णे गतिह्येते जगतः शाश्वते मते एकया यज्ञावृत्तिम् अन्यया वर्तते पुनः नैति श्रुति पार्थ जानन् योगी मुह्यति कश्चन तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु योगयुक्तो भवार्जुन वेदेषु यज्ञेषु तपस्सु चैव दानेषु यत् पुण्यफलं प्रविष्टम् अध्येति तत्सर्वमिदं विदित्वा योगी परं स्थानमुपैति चार्यम् ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे अक्षरब्रह्मयोगो नाम अष्टमोऽध्यायः।
Thank you very much, members of the Chinmaya mission, basically led by the very divine personality and Swamiji, who is here with us today. And I think once Swamiji also told me, that if you squeeze him, you might get orange juice because he's all in orange. So before we have the eulogy, we'll do one bhajan. Hari Ho Rama Milan Kab Hoy. Last night I did this song also. It's a very, very important song in our lives. What preparations have we made for that examination when we meet with the Lord? दसमास रहे तब करोही में तब ही प्रभु कौन क्या मैं बाहर हो हरि भक्त करो यही कारण लोग गए दुखिया चेत आई जगत में भूल गयो यही लोग दुखिया तब ही दिल मन चेत करो राम सिया तू जन्म लिया. This share is loaded with meaning in a very simple way. We are all striving for human form. When we get into the womb of the mother, we are praying to come out and to have a healthy birth. But once you come into this world, you forget all the promises that you would have made. Tehi mein log dukhiya, and this is why the world is suffering. Hari Ho Ram Milan ka babu, Andeswala Raho. Hari Ho Ram Milan ka babu, Andeswala Raho. Indiana padya ho, Indiana padya ho, bhoke pankaj chali, bhoke pankaj chali, Hari Ho Ram Milan ka babu. आपने किए हो जीवन लीला हो। भजन के भोर भई, अरे भजन के भोर भई, वेद पुराण ग्रंथ बहु विधि पर, वेद पुराण ग्रंथ बहु विधि पर, पाकर बांध बलि, अरे पाकर बांध बलि, Hari Ho Ram Milan ka babu. जो वेद स्वप्न शुक्ल उपति तुलया हो, जो वेद स्वप्न शुक्ल उपति तुलया हो, जीत बराम मिले, हरे जीत बराम मिले, हरे राम मिले, Hari Ho Ram Milan ka babu. Sri Krishna Chandra Maharaj ki Jai. We now have the eulogy to be done by Sujit.
Sit down, everybody. Mommy, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles. I may not be too politically correct, but in the order. But I do appreciate each and every one of you being here today. A day that we all know would come for each and every one of us and people around us. Still doesn't make it easy. Dad, Aja, Pope, Uncle Baya, Uncle Bhola, Sonny, Pora, Mr. Kanhai, Mr. K. All these names, people would have called them by, and probably a few others that I may not know. Myself, my sisters, my children, Aranavati, my mother, his sisters, his brothers, his deceased siblings, his deceased mother, his deceased father. They all loved him, and they loved him because he was a caring and giving person. He was born in Esperanza Estate, in the barracks. And the truth said, I think he was about 8 when himself and his family moved to King Village in California. He grew up there strong, physically strong, young fella. He was a very good swimmer. He used to swim from, I don't know who would have known Monkey Point Bay and Cali Bay. He used to swim from Monkey Point Bay to Cali Bay and back. He even took me on his back in the young days and swam out in Tobago, Stowe Bay. He was the bagman amongst his brothers and friends and the villagers, and the crab catching expeditions and the fishing trips. He was the bagman because he could not catch crab, could not catch fish, but he was strong. And he was the fellow who could have took the weight. When he was growing up, he was one of the very few people to write his school leaving exams and pass in those days in the village. And that is back in those days, was a very big achievement. And he would have tutored many, apart from his siblings, younger and older. Many villagers he would have tutored. One of those that he would have tutored actually went on to become a dog trainer for the bomb sniffer dogs in the UK. He would not have taught him how to train dogs, but he did help him to learn how to check and to write. Well, he certainly taught me and my sisters that too, because every day it was about penmanship and comprehension. We had to write a paragraph from the papers every day. And you know, man, when you're done and you feel you're good, you're questioning you, because you want to make sure you didn't just write it, you read it and you understood it. I think we failed most of the time. He was an active community person. In the young days, he would have started a community group with the youths in King Village by the name of the Scarlet Youth Academy. And they were one of the groups that would have been very instrumental in getting pavements on the main road in King Village, California. That's the southern main road, the old southern main road in King Village, California, opposite New Settlement Village. That used to be I remember when I was very young days, that used to be an accident-prone area if there ever was one. Yeah, almost every day it had an accident there. And I say our because in those days I still lived there, in my young days, in my grandmother's house. In that house, we were like paramedics. Everybody was like paramedics. Because there's some was head, some damaged foot, something happening, and it's not like these days where we have EHS and we have fire services at your beck and call. No cell phone. Very few people had telephones. He was one of those people who would have recognized that this needed to fix. Got the guys together, the youths together, and the youth group did that. They got the pavement done. He went on to work at Attorney Kelshaw's office as a young guy, and then left there to become a postman in the government postal service. I really don't know the name at the time. It has so much different names now. And that time, he would have maintained an apartment in Port Spain. During that period of time, he was renting, and I think it was Marvel. And he became very good friends, lifelong friends with Uncle Scratch, Uncle Hans Raj Singh. Uncle Hans Raj is from Rio Caro, and till this day, we know him as Uncle Scratch. And from baby, I used to be by his house because that's on the way to the beach. So I said when they are happy. In 1980, well before 1980, around the early 1970s, he would have met my mother. And just by chance, he went to San Fernando General Hospital where she was working as a emergency clerk at the time, the front desk. And he met her and he came home and he spoke. He spoke to her and he came home, he spoke to my grandmother. And his father, Mayaja, he decided to make a spin to see, what is the scene about, what's trying to happen. So he went across to San Fernando and he walked up and down. He see she, he doctor she. He come home, so Ma say, so Hannah, where you was? He said, well, I went to San Fernando to see this girl who talking about. She said, so you see him? He said, yeah. So where does she? So me I told she nothing, eh? Ma said, well, that's alright, she coming tomorrow. So them done make the arrangement already. He was Mama's eyeball. He was, and everybody was calling me, the splitting image of Mama. He had a lot of her habits, a lot of her ways. He had her heart. He had her anger. He had her discipline. He had a lot of things. He even had a lot of her looks. But is one thing you have to say, that he always had her love. In the 1980s, he moved to build this house for that time. This was the back of the house at that time. Built this house and we moved across here. And both my sisters were born here. I was about 6 years old when Anthony was born, and then about 10 when Arina was born. And in the morning, my father used to wake up like 3:30 in the morning because he went to Spain. There was only one lane highway. And he make sure in the morning, get up, we wake us up. Well, they were babies. And I come downstairs at that age, well, I want to drink my coffee. I don't want tea and my or coffee. By the time I reach downstairs, I have a cup of coffee waiting. And Jenny or Aruna, whichever one of them I was young at the time, was on the little rocker, the little hand stroke pram, baby holder business. And he used to bring them downstairs. He put them on the counter, make a bottle for them to drink the bottle while he prepared the curry to cook. My mother come downstairs, she organized how to cook the curry roti, and then he would go upstairs, be changed. And then his first thing after that was to the prayer room to ensure he did his morning prayers. But that was, no matter what, that was routine, that was schedule, that was law. Not only for him, but for us too. He ensured that we all grew up to respect our religion and make sure that we have that amount of, how would I say, protection, he used to say. At the beginning of each day, we pray to God first. Over here, he also was part of the community. He was a member of one of the founding members of the Motivational Center. I didn't confirm with Uncle Harry, but he was one of the first other members of the Augustine Settlement County Council, or Village Council. He was one of the founding members of the Hindu Prachar Kendra. He was a member in each of our PTA boards for each school that we attended. He was, well, for his purposes, a close friend to our teachers. Very close. He used to be in school probably more than some of the teachers. And he was always concerned and cared for us and our well-being and our education, and wanted to make sure that we did the best we could. And if there was anything that we weren't saying that he could have picked up from the teachers, he would have picked it up and made a lot of, I would say, improvements. His free time was in the garden from very young till he couldn't do it anymore. And the reason he couldn't, the one and only reason he couldn't do it anymore was because of the high risk of slipping and falling. He loved the garden. He loved the land. From the time he reached home from work, come home, he would make a sandwich, change his clothes, eat, have that sandwich, drink a cup of tea or whatever, and he in the garden. He would only come in probably about dusk dark, 6:30, that kind of time. And the only reason he come in that kind of time is to bathe and change to ensure that he like he evening bathe. So he would have done that and made sure that he peeled the curry for tomorrow breakfast now. So while he watching TV and had us doing homework and writing a paragraph and all that kind of things, he peeling the curry, watching news, TTT Panorama. He always had his schedule, always had his schedule. No matter what, he maintained that schedule even till the last few days. He would have always maintained that schedule as best as he could. But, any good things, my cousins, and I mean that there are so many names to call, but can I just make sure and call Sean, Justin, Satish, in there, you have Rena, Sandy, Kim, Peggy, Andy, Mandy, Satya, Satish, Rika. Then I have Victoria, Wendy, Shalian, Nisha, Anderson, Lisa, Satyam. Each and every one, Shabnam. Each and every one of them, and plus more, I show Lou. I say Lou. Each and everybody, they all thought he was the best fella ever. And I said, what's wrong with all that? How all you could think that? I again looks like crazy. And all they telling me about, he's fun. Kim said, at one point in time, Kim used to say, that's my best uncle ever. Till she started whooping. And it is those days, he made sure that we had good days. He made sure, even if it was just us home, we always made sure we had cake, ice cream, and we celebrated the birthday. We also could be whose, it doesn't matter. We made sure we celebrate those birthdays. I had to say, some of the best birthdays. Ravi is always talk. My father decided, when I had, I don't know how much it is, to carry each friend from the village to the zoo and the botanical gardens for my birthday. Well, I feel very good with that. I'm the boss, I'm the bum. You're good to go. Until me and Ravi was walking and my hat fall inside the tiger cage. I said, Rav, what are we going to do, boy? Just hide it. We go over it, Say, yeah, good. Glad to say we didn't go because he catch me. But at that age, we really didn't know. And he would have been one to help us and guide us and show us. My father always ensured that we don't grow up and think everything was just so. Almost everything that is around here would have been done with himself and myself included, work-wise, mixing concrete. I remember many times a lot of cousins would have helped. Uncle Vishnu would have been there helping. My mother used to tote concrete up and down. My deceased uncles, Uncle Siva, somewhere here, would have welded a lot of these steel hooks and things. He made sure everything was a family thing. And our family was like that. And he made sure that we stayed together, that we did these things together. He faced every challenge in his life very methodically. And he had a plan for everything. I not so much, but he had a plan. Everything I have, he had a plan for. And I mean, even himself, he in Arima Hospital with COVID, and he calling us to find out. So they call what they call Leroy. What Leroy coming to do? He cutting the grass alone, or he trimming the plants, or whatever. And he making sure that these things are done, and it is done the how he wanted. I dare not do anything in this house without passing by him first, because no matter how good I do it, if I do it by myself, he gonna have a problem with that. One of the very good things that I must say, Uncle Lloyd from the surgery here, he would have been our very first guru in religion. My father made sure from the earliest of ages that we were trained properly, taught properly in religion, music, Hindi. We learned to read, at a very young age we started to read Ramayana. Ravi and I were in the same age growing up, Rishi. And he made sure that he was there all the time. Just the other day I was talking, he liked to sing there. Last time he was talking, Uncle Lloyd was talking about the songs, and Ravi was saying how my song was Saila Gaishwar, and he had one song, my father had one song too. Every time he asked him to sing, one song he sing. And you know, that was Shiva Shambhu Dinoki Bandhu. And he made sure that we were comfortable to do these things. He made sure that we were comfortable to do these things. He had, when he did some surgeries on the spine, he bought a pool because he thought the rehab people wasn't doing a good job. The physical rehab people wasn't doing a good job, so he bought a pool. And he started to do his own physical therapy, which of course he did every day. And Ariane Aditi would have learned to swim in that pool because he ensured that every day for sure, and sometimes twice a day, they in the pool and they swimming. And he supervised it. He making sure everything, whether he in the pool or out of the pool, he making sure they're okay, he always with them. He had a lot of hard times, but he never made it, you know. Yes, he harassed us, all of us. All of us in the day, all of us in the night, for sometimes nothing. But he didn't make up fuss. He didn't make up fuss. He made sure that whatever he wanted, he would have called us, he would have asked for it. And the only reason he was doing that is because we quarreled with him. Because he used to do it himself. And we were really very afraid to do some of those, for him to do some of those things. I really, and I forgot to talk about the Queen's Park over Shanderson. The Queen's Park, Savannah, playing cricket. He loved to play cricket, he loved playing all fours. I mean, he loved the beach, oh gosh, he loved the beach. Every weekend we used to be in the beach. Satya reminded us, he used to take them Kedona every weekend, or every other weekend. Manzanola every other weekend. Tuesdays was Kedona, yes. Because I think what the car is a certain price, a cheap price or something like that. Yeah. And he did a lot of things. He did a lot of things for us. He spent a lot of time with us, and not only me and my sister, but also cousins. He made sure that everybody was happy. And I admired my father my whole life. We probably didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but we had a certain understanding, Lois. And you know, quietly sometimes we would talk about some of these things. And well, I mean, obviously I was wrong. I know 2 ways about that. And he was right. And that is okay, that is fine, because he made sure that I could stand here today and talk on his behalf, on behalf of my sisters, on behalf of my mother, my children, on behalf of my family. Dad, I love you very, very much. I would have told you that while you were alive. We all would have shown you that while you were alive. I don't think any one of us would have any regret at all, because at any point in time between Anthony, myself, and Aruna, we always made sure that whatever his needs were, we tried our best to make sure that he had that arrangement sorted out. Anthony was the one who was really spearhead on that. My mother made sure that he was comfortable, and she, no matter what, she used to remain waking, and she was probably sometimes go to sleep 3 o'clock in the morning just to make sure that, you know, his nightly needs were met. In case he called and Anthony don't answer, she did. So I would like to really, really, on behalf of myself and my 2 sisters, my 2 daughters, to say, Dad, we love you very much. On behalf of my mother, you have given us and blessed us with a wonderful, wonderful life. And who we are, where we have reached, it is all in a big, big thanks to you. That is my humble part. Auntie Sita, Dad's younger sister. And Sita has a few words to say on behalf of his sisters and brothers. Well, one brother presently with us, the rest would have died. Auntie Sita.
Sitaram, everybody. Baya. That's how we were trained to call him. Because when I was born, he was already an adult. So Mama and Papa both instilled in us that you can't call him by his name. So that's how we call him. Even the children would call him Uncle Baya. You know, we were never allowed to call him in his name. That is how we all looked up to Baya. To me, he was a father figure. He was more than a brother. I admired him greatly as a child, mostly because of his educational accomplishments. You know, he was somebody that we could follow, the younger ones, to strive forward educationally and otherwise. So I have memories of him as a young boy is not with me, but I know him as an adult, and my sister Marty, who lived right next door, were very, very close to him as a child and also as growing up as adults. She and her husband Tony lived right across there. She's in Louisiana now, and she asked me to read these messages. So this is directly from Marty's notes, affectionately called Mommy, for you all who know her. On the demise of a sibling, numerous images of your life spent together are projected in rewind and forward, made in your subconsciousness. Joy and sadness encompasses your entirety, reliving the special memories of a life lived together by our bigger brother. A gem of a person. As a youth, he was very ambitious and practical and determined to succeed in life. He took on his journey to be educated, you know, he sort of did a self-education with the support of my parents, you know, whatever finances they would have had then, which was very little. You know, big sister and Jody would know more. So in his strive to reach that point, he passed his school with an exam. And the school he was going to would have been Couva. I can't say the name right now, but it would have been a distance, and my father had a bicycle that he was very old and packed down, and he used to cycle to Caroni, and he had bought a new one, and Baya took that old bicycle, it was near to throwing away, and he fixed it well enough to cycle to Kuva every day and back up until he did O-levels. He wanted to make a better life for himself, but he ultimately made a better life for all of us. He was the first person in our village, In those days it was a big deal to have a car, a vehicle. Maybe he couldn't afford it, but however he did it, together with my brother, Boise, who passed on. They were very, very close, very. They both knew we never forgot that car because we were all so excited. PP 767. We 10 of us would fit in that car. Mama and Papa were so, I can't explain the feeling they had in those days that my child could have a vehicle to take me out, to take out your parents in those days in a car was something as a parent that you would have accomplished. And they were so very, always proud of Baya. I think they looked up to him as an adult, for advice as well. I remember as a child that whenever Baya is there, Mama and Papa and him, I would go in the room and lock the door. It means they were discussing something about building or money or his advice on a project. And that's the person my parents would have turned to as well for that kind of pillar of strength and support. This ambitious he had led him to be successful and to set the pace for us, the younger sibling. Sujit mentioned about him being the backbone of forming that sports and cultural club, and that was the best thing that happened to us as children. It was something like the Chinmaya mission where we were allowed to get together as children. We weren't aware then, but it was a way of not doing wrong things in those days, of having meetings every week, of knowing what a president and vice president, the structure of a board should be. As children, he made sure we all were involved. Tony was the president. I don't know, Tony and then we would have been secretary, assistant secretary. I mean, we were very young, but we were given that responsibility. And I think he instilled that leadership quality in us since then. I wasn't even aware of it until in my office I automatically asked to do speeches, and I do it, and I'm wondering, Bai is responsible for all of that, for making us that kind of person as he did with his children. So he was responsible for many village events like a sports club, like Sujit said, he was responsible for the club was responsible for getting pavement, digging that ravine, that river. It used to always flood, and the group also was responsible for that. And of course, Baya was the go-to person. Should we do this? Can we do this? We would hold bazaars and raise funds. So it was so interactive. We weren't aware, but he was so instrumental in interacting us. I think because of that group, Malti and Tony got married. That's where they met. And his aim was to bring the youths together. And now you see the Prime Minister and the government trying to do that same community spirit and trying to get the youths together into some activities so that they can stay away from crime in other areas. This was by input into the whole of King Village. He was powerful, he was built, when I was very young I always thought he was the most handsome person. Even all my brothers were adults and they were like really tough and they had this strength mentally, and his voice. I don't know if they got it from Mama, because, Mama, sorry, say Mama. And they were so powerful in their words and their deeds. I never could reach that point. I tried, but, and I admired him all the time. He was always ready. Let me go back to his being powerful, and he got a nickname at young. The village called him Power, which eventually changed into Power. It was, but the real name was Power, because he was so powerful as a person. He was always ready to offer futuristic advice, both personally and otherwise. He encouraged us to bring out our best and also supported our endeavors. And we also had to read The Guardian every day, Sujit. During the summer vacation, if Chitwal and Malti, I don't know if you will remember, he would assign each part. I don't know if Joni would have been involved. Before he went to work and we on holidays, he would have assigned us each part of the newspaper to read. And when he come home, we had to answer questions. I must have failed that a million times. Because playing cricket and thieving mango was much better than reading the newspaper. But we had to do it, and we did it. When he started earning an income, we, the younger siblings, were the happiest people in the world. For the first time in our lives, we were getting an allowance of $2 a month. We never knew what allowance meant because our parents weren't so financially well off, and we understood that. So for Bayer to give us $2 in the 70s, that was like, it was like a treasure. We were so grateful. He was also very serious in looks. I mean, if you don't know him and you see him, you might, just keep behind your line. But Mama would always say that he had a roar of a lion, so that, he was so powerful, in whatever he said. He was naturally the spokesperson at all family functions, a live wire at any get-together. Totally a family man. He never missed a family get-together. On family outings as children, when we would go beaches, and I don't know if you all remember Boji, when they were all living home by Mama. Paramatma se meri atma ab chal kar milan ab chal kar milan ab chal kar milan ज्योति बिंदु के प्रेम सिंधु में चल आज नहाए परम पिता का प्रेम पत्र बनकर जो शुभ वर पाए किरण किरण को निरख नयन से किरण किरण को निरख नयन से ओझा मन में मगन ज्योति बिंदु परमात्मा से मेरी आत्मा अब चल कर मिलन अब चल कर मिलन अब चल कर मिलन अब चल कर मिलन अब चल कर मिलन. Uncle Lloyd, do we have a minute to sing this? A chorus of that song?
Well, my brother, he was very active in the temple, and we used to have little skits in the temple. And one day as we went for practice, I was booed down. And we came home, and he said, "You're so stupid. Why you don't try?" I said, "Well, I don't know. I get frightened and I don't know what to do." But in the Monday, we had a little skit there, and we had to prepare ourselves, right? So he came home, He said, come on, start and sing this song. I said, well, if I have no drum or nothing. He went in the kitchen, he bring Mama basin, and he started to sing this song. You know, he used to dance a lot. He loved dancing. So the song was, Bhaiya mere Rakhi ke bandhan ko nibhana, Bhaiya mere choti bahin ke na bhulana, Bhaiya mere Rakhi ke bandhan ko nibhana, Bhaiya mere choti bahin ke na bhulana, Bhaiya mere ye dil to hai khushi ka pawan jaise kiran ka mai ki usne mata pihan pihan nae mangal chika jo maine sawan sohara. And at this stage he's dancing like this. Ke bandhan ko nibhana, Bhaiya mere choti bahin ke na bhulaya, Bhaiya mere Rakhi ke bandhan ko nibhana, Bhaiya mere choti bahin ke na bhulaya, Bhaiya mere. Goodbye, Bhaiya, we love you.
Right, well, I didn't think we would have got a dance performance, but we do appreciate it very much, Auntie Joni. Thank you very much. I myself have never seen my father dance. The only time I see him moving hand like that was with the wood to hit me. or the belt or whatever it was. But we can't talk about that. I would now like to introduce my mother's youngest brother. Before I do that, I would just like to recognize Pandit Satish Ramrup. Pandit Ramrup is the president of the Pranava Ashram, and he's a very active member in the, well, used to be in political field and now much in religious field also. Uncle Vishnu is my mother's youngest brother. Uncle Vishnu used to live here at the time. So his clothes and my clothes are very close in terms of it. So I say, enjoy wearing his clothes. Father, I say, crack my tail. That is big people clothes. That is not for you to wear. So, Uncle Vishnu, I would like to say a few words on behalf of
Thank you very much, Sujit, Swamiji, Swamiji, and Panjaji. To each and every one of you all, my nieces, my sister. Sonny boy Bhola Kanhai, sunny boy, sunny. It's a very sunny weather today, and this morning when the body came and they took it inside, and the reflection of the sun on it looked so really beautiful. He looked so natural, so normal, and he looked just like the Bhola, the sunny boy that we have known. He's my brother-in-law. He got married to my sister in 1975, of course, from a year or so before. He became a part of the family. It was formalized in 1975. Most importantly, he developed a tremendous relationship with all of us, with my mother, his mother-in-law. He developed very, very early, even before the marriage, of course. Son-in-law, deep son-in-law relationship, and he treated her just like his mother with all the respect and everything. With my brothers, they had that special relationship with his Sarubais, with Mikey, with Clifford, and of course with Gopal, and then another Bhola who lives abroad as well with his Sarubai, my sister's spouses. They have had that very special relationship, and certainly with all the nephew and nieces from my mother's side, he always shared a special bond. And most importantly, I think with the Prasad family, with the Kanhai family, we have always had that beautiful, loving bond, and Bhola would have taken a lot of pride and pleasure in the occasions when he hosted certain functions here, and two particular occasions will be Diwali, when everyone is always welcome. You don't need an invitation, but on Olia's night, where everyone always gathered here, it had he was so glad to be the person and to be the hosting family for everyone, family and friends and so on. We had some really great moments here, you know, in celebrating, ushering in, the new year. When Bhola came into the village, this very parcel of land and the surrounding area, really, on this side of the road was lagoon. It was rice land, and he was the very first person who, upon purchase of the land, he developed the area, he built up the area, and he built a home for his family. And subsequent to that, there would have been further developments, as we see now. It's hugely not only residential but commercial area. So he was pioneering in that regard. And the one thing I would just like to say, in being brief, is that Sujit and they always talk about the newspaper. Ever since I was young, because I was in primary school when he got married, and when he came here to live, every single day I used to come across here to read the newspapers. The Express and the Guardian, the news they came out after, and he used to buy them all. I read them all, and we always used to have discussions as to what's happening in the news as well as in sport. He was a very avid sports fan. As an accountant by profession and practice, he would have inspired several of his niece-nephews to pursue a profession in that direction, and as a person who is always, who plans well, who is very meticulous in his planning, I think it's no surprise that Anthony and one or two others would have gone the route also of mastering in project management. I think on behalf of the Persad family, my brother Harry, and those who would have departed, Chofil, Andre, my sisters, Dolly Didi, Piari Didi, Shanti, Pearl, Vidya, on behalf of their families, I would like to say Bhola had impacted on all of us in a very beautiful and wonderful way. And you know, the inevitable thing in life is we all have to go. Pandaji did mention that you're born, and at some stage, you know, we have to depart, and in between that period is what you do with your life. It comes to that. What by the impact he would have had in the community. He was an executive on the village council. One of the greatest sports day we would have had at the Savannah, like that road Agostini Settlement Recreation Ground, would have been one in which, you know, he played an instrumental role. He would have organized a lot of the prizes, and then subsequent to that, he would have had several family sporting activities right in the very road and in the premises. Yes, so on that note, we bid Sonny boy Bhola Kanhai farewell, goodbye. He has lived a good and a full life, and you know, it's where at some stage we all do have to go. Sit down.
Thank you all very much to all the singers and speakers this morning. While I was sitting there, I got a little bit worried just now, because I know the bars are still closed. I understand from Monday they're opening back, something opened Monday and then the next Monday something. But earlier I saw Anderson packing the cooler. Why saying about it backward? What is man putting on that cooler? And then again, when I was looking around, I was wondering if Sujit has a tape. Because you know, they say because of the pandemic, water. That's true. I was wondering if Sujit has a tape. Maybe somebody should move the cooler from the sun and just put it in the shade anyway. Please. Because of the pandemic, we're supposed to be having social distancing. And I saw you people compacted so much. I wanted to get a tape and mark 6 feet here. Put a mark 6 feet here. So we have that. Anyway, that's by the way. This morning we are very, very blessed with the presence of the President of the Chinmaya Mission. And whenever we meet, whatever the function might be, happy or sad, I always ask him to say a few words for us. President Rupi, please.
Hello. Today, I've learned quite a lot about this family. You know, there is a saying, a chip of the old block, but I think is a block of the old block. I have known Mrs. Bhola since I joined the Chinmaya Mission. A wonderful person and a very ardent supporter of the Chinmaya Mission as well. She has motivated quite a lot of people. I know when she was ailing, we used to visit her. And she did not speak about her illness. What she spoke about is about the community, about religion, and sometimes she will sing as well for us. And I have seen this same thing happening here today. That spirit and that joy that emanated from Mrs. Bhola has found itself among all the family. I'm not acquainted with the deceased as such, but with Arunaji, who has joined the ashram, and her mom as well. And they too are quite wonderful people. The Bhola family, I did not know quite as much, but joining the ashram, I always heard the Bhola family has sponsored this and has sponsored that, not knowing who it was. Today, I know what is it all about. And I must commend all the family and be thankful for the wonderful support you have given to the Chinmaya Mission, as well as the community at large. I know, hearing Panditji last night, that the deceased has prepared his journey well. This important journey, he has been preparing for it all the way along. And I'm sure he will reach his destination quite safely, and he will attain whatever he deserves to have. And I know the parents have bestowed so much blessing upon him. I'm sure he will reach the supreme. Video.
Thank you very much, President Neil. The next speaker will be introduced by his students, his chela. I don't know how else to introduce them, but I'll ask members of the Chinmaya Mission to please come and offer us a chant before the Guru comes to speak. Please.
Good evening, everybody. Sit around. Before the Guru speaks, it's traditional that we don't speak. So we will say a short prayer and then we will hand over to Swamiji. Akanda mandalakaram vyaptam yena characharam tatparam darshitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Hari Om.
Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai.
Swamiji, please come and share.
Thank you very much for that. I know, my friends, we have the head, I don't know, head, but he does be like the head and all parts of the body, because when you go to the ashram, he doing everything, from cooking to feeding to washing plate and everything. So I can't say he's the head of the mission, because he's in everything there. My friends, I give you Swami Prakashanandaji.
very special Hari Om to all of you, to his dear family. Pandit Ramrup has left, our president of Chinmay Mission. Hari Om. I want to encapsulate all that has been said this morning, but in order to do that, I want to tell a little story, and a true story. In 2003, which is about 18 or 19 years ago, we started the school in Cuba. But from 2002 onwards, we were getting everything ready in order to start. And the different authorities were giving us a lot of runaround. Health department had to give their approval. Fire department had to give their approval. You know, like that, all the various departments. And then the fire department came in and told that we had to put this alarm, and there's so many things, signs and so many things there for the fire department. There are requirements. So then somebody told me there's a place called Caribbean Safety Products that supplies all of these things. And I should go there and tell them it is a charitable organization and they might give us a discount and all that kind of thing. And money was hard to come by, we're just starting up and all. So I went there and Sonny boy, Mr. Bhola came out. So I said, but hey, I know this man. This is my son. I mean, I know him from seeing him at her house, right? I didn't know him personally like that. This is Amma's son. So I tell him, I'm still looking for all of these things, for the ashram. And I don't know if you'll be able to give us a discount and this and that. And then an idea come to me. And he said, all right, you could see what you could do and if you could give a discount and then we talk. Idea come to me, I rushed down by Amma. I say, Amma, look, we need them things, And I see your son there. She say, yeah. She take up the phone, fast, and she call him. And she say, Sonny boy, look, the boy what them thing, look, give the boy them damn thing, And he gave everything, that company gave everything free, saw to it that we got everything free. And I'm saying this story, of course, because it was a success which contributed to the school and all of that sort of thing. But behind all of what Sujit has said, Sita has said, everybody who spoke here today, behind all of it is teaching which is ringing out from the scriptures in my mind because of what all of them said. And that is, the scriptures again and again re-emphasizes the importance of imparting values. And values doesn't have to do with education. Values have to do with the vision and understanding of what is good for a nation, what is good for a society, what is good for a community. Mrs. Bhola was an uneducated person. And when all of them, Sita and Sonny boy and everybody had gotten married and everybody gone their way, but then I was his new son. And Sita was talking about how he was strong, and I was telling he got that strength from she. Because how I know personally, because one day she told me, she said, look, I'm coming to give you a massage, You so skinny and maga. I don't know when you go put some meat. When I come back from India, I only weigh 100 pounds. Not 100 pounds even. I come to give you a massage and she bring coconut oil and thing. Man, that lady hand strong. When that massage done, I wanted that next massage, Everywhere paining. So strong she was. But I was saying, see, she's a simple person, a village person, uneducated, but uneducated in modern terms, right? But the
values that she and Mr. Bhola, because I used to go to listen to Mr. Bhola in the Dog Village temple also. The values that those two human beings embodied, those values were transferred down to all of their children. And it is the values of community, the values of the keeping alive of spirituality, of family, of contributing. She came into the temple and she looked at everybody sitting on the floor and she said, look, I'm going to put carpet in this whole thing. And you can't tell me no. I say, okay, ma, whatever you say. And she go and she get carpet and put it in. Those values were handed down to all the children. The BIG was talking about sponsoring this and sponsoring that away. And today he knows. But she handed that to all of the children and subsequently to all of the grandchildren. And then the spiritual values, so much so that one of the granddaughter ended up in the ashram as a brahmachari, taking up this type of work. So, from them was imparted all the values to the father of this home, and then from the father to the children. And that's how societies and communities are built, and that's how they perpetuate. Not by, you see, if we impart stealing to the children, so society becomes degraded by that. But when you impart to the children these type of spiritual values, society gets lifted. And behind everybody's talk today, I'm seeing how Sonny Boy got all the values from Mr. and Mrs. Bhola. I don't know how he transferred it down to the children. And this is what builds society, this is what builds nation. And it is so important that we all take a page from this most illustrious family. But I only know from Mr. Bhola and Mrs. Bhola. Before them, I don't know. We take a page from this illustrious family, and we also try to make our contribution to imparting the right values for the perpetuation of our society. It is very, very important. Okay, I came to know him only after that incident there at Caribbean Safety Product, and from his contribution to the community and to the society, I can tell that he had received all of these great values from his mother and father. I commend this family, and my condolences to this bereaved family. May you all have the strength to bear with it gracefully and with shanti. Hari Om.
Thank you very much, Swami Ji. Just to let you know that Bhola's son is working on a hardware too. So in case you could we all please stand at this time? Angie, as a flowers to the immediate family. If the immediate family will want to come and stand around the coffin, why you will come forward, take forward. The children, the grandchildren, you will come. Angie, come. As we send him on his way, we ask that if he would have had any indebtedness or caused any problems for any one of us during his stay here, we forgive him, and we ask that his soul should go in peace. I be akela, jai bhi akela, do din ka zindagi hai, do din ka mela, aaye bhi akela, jai bhi akela. Wide say you are going, you will miss your bright eyes and sweet smile. For this thing will leave when the sun shines, and break in the pathways of life. you never did say. No one asked all upon Kotamani. For you say you are good, for you are made. The body
They say you are good.
Father's love should never forget. Everything you do, child, you bound to regret. Father's love should never forget. One thing you do, child, you bound to regret. Now the time has come when you must leave us. You must go where the Lord has for you. Do not ever forget us your love. To you we have always been true. And that's why we say you are good. Never treat your father bad, never make him sad. Make your father happy and glad, he'll never wish you bad. Never treat your father bad, never make him sad. Make your father happy and glad, he'll never wish you bad. Never miss the water till the well runs dry. Just like your father when he closes his eyes. पिता मोह बट मत उड़ाना, जो कल काम किया है वही बनाना. So consider life for your leader. And to bed at the door. But remember this small little village, and the one who's always been true. From the valley to say you are going, they'll miss your bright eyes and smile. For they say you are here in the sunshine, and take in the pathways of art, and take in the pathways of art, and take in the pathways of art. Let us all bow our heads and close and pray. Om Anadino Vigano Deva Shankachakra Garadharaha Akshayaha Pundari Kaksham Preta Moksha Pradobhava Preta Moksha Pradobhava Preta Moksha Pradobhava. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tashmai Shri Gurave Namah. Om Asatoma Sadgama Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorema Amritangamaya. Om Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva bandhuscha sakha Tvameva Tvameva vidya dravinam Tvameva Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Om Namo Paramatmane Namaha. These devotees have brought us to the end of this part of this morning's session. We now prepare to take the body down to the Waterloo cremation ground. The first manzil that we make will be right on the gap here as we begin to send back the 5 elements from whence they came. And just as a note, that when you go down to the cremation ground in Waterloo, only 10 people will be allowed around the chitta, and the rest of you will have to remain in the car park. So please do not, if you are going there, try and don't cause any commotion to make us look as a family that we are the one who are disruptive when we come down here. So just, is a word of caution. Thank you all very much. Sitaram, until we meet again. Going across there with the coffin now, and you also come there and see. Look at somebody, you can.
Yeah, that was the thing.
Buru's Funeral Home, a leader in the funeral industry for over 25 years, is now at number 2 Southern Main Road, Canoopia. At Buru's, you are assured quality service and affordable funeral packages so that your loved ones get the send-off they deserve. Buru's can ship and receive worldwide. When the inevitable occurs, you can rely on Buru's Funeral Home, funeral directors and embalmers. Now at number 2 Southern Main Road, Canoopia. 24-hour service available. Phone 370-8036. Buru's Funeral Home, a leader in the funeral industry.